be good to make a statement that we're returning back to the regular meeting at 7:42. And I just sent Kathleen an email.
Okay. This is the PROSAB board. We are returning back to our regular meeting. Time is 7:42. We've just exited our executive session. Back to public. Shuffle
If you wanted to allow Kathleen, you could like start on a different subject and come back to this. Your choice. I'm not sure if that's why she's calling in or.
I can at least say that since Sam is not here, we're likely not going to talk about the bike park item tonight. So I guess we'll just scratch that. And I guess maybe this would be a quick one, Brian. Should we just do trails? I think that's going to be pretty short.
Yeah, I think my email update is similar to my verbal update. I haven't done anything since the summarized survey findings. I think the next step was to actually have some engagement with special interest groups, but I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. And I'm thinking.
No, that's totally fine, Brian. Like what? Do we have some suggestions for the stakeholders that might want to bring in? Then just maybe make.
Yeah, I think what I would probably do is summarize some of the resident responses. So people like to use these trails, or they're interested in having trails in these places, and then put that forward in front of the special interest groups to see if they can respond to those.
Yeah, and
Brian and I did make a list of those, of a lot of the folks who.
I read those.
Yeah. Cool. I do have a kind of sort of an update. Yeah. It's sort of tangential in that Trustee Taylor has been also sort of on the map making bandwagon in the same way that we were discussing, I think, a couple of meetings ago. And there is some interest townwide of having large format town maps with overlays for different town resources, trails being one of them. So that would really go together well with sort of the trails envisioning process to get those large format maps made.
Acquired a large printer from the business connection. So what's cool too is we could probably do this internally, and Peter is doing the research into that right now, and it would be an awesome asset.
Oh, that's fantastic. I was wondering who got that.
Because then we could, get some big maps out, get some transparency, get some markers, get community around a big table, and really start visualizing what the Nederland trail system looks like now and what it might look like.
I like it.
Yeah, that would be super fun. Snacks.
Shall we wait till Omicron has subsided a wee bit?
Wait till the next variant.
Yeah, just wait till the next letter in the alphabet.
Not waiting for the Omega variant. Sounds ominous.
What are you saying? There's a trails variant?
Probably.
Soon enough, it feels like.
Soon enough.
It's coming. I mean, the other kind of short one, I think, if we're allowed to just skip around a little bit, would be the Bobcat Ridge site visit. Did anyone manage to do that? I know you did, Eric, didn't you? Yeah, I mean, I was definitely planning on hooking up with Kayla, maybe when the weather gets a little bit nicer.
Yeah, Jesse, did you want me to help coordinate that, or did you want to just take that and you'll connect with Kayla?
I'll probably just connect with Kayla. I want to talk to her about historical stuff anyway. So
I'd like to meet Kayla sometime at her convenience. She seems like someone that would really know.
I mean, and that is something that we could do with maybe just 2 PROSAB members too. We could get 2 PROSAB members together and take a walk up there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm like, happy to publicly notice it, but it's easier if you just did it 2 at a time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll see if I'll see what kind of Kayla's interest is, then maybe taking CT and I out for a walk. Interested to see the site. Like it's yeah. What were your thoughts just kind of on the site, Eric? Because it was totally in a different area than I ever imagined it was going to be.
I mean, I'm still in sort of the mode where none of it really feels real enough to me for me to have an opinion on it yet.
No, I mean it's just concept anyway.
Yeah,
Right now.
it's very much an idea, and it is an idea phase, and there might have been some numbers done, but you know, there's just so much that needs to happen before
And yeah,
thinking about this as like thinking about breaking ground on any kind of project on that plot of land is just so far away from happening at this stage. But it could all move very quickly if the BOT comes to a resolution regarding annexation procedure for the town sooner than I'm anticipating, which is still very much a possibility.
When are you anticipating?
I mean, I'm anticipating it's going to be the next BOT that has to actually do this. That the current seated board is, you know, not going to exist come April because that's when our election is, and we will have a new BOT, and that BOT is the one that's going to have to complete the process. If only because it's almost impossible to have adequate public input on a new annexation ordinance in the amount of time that we have left that this BOT is seated. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot to hash out. There are the details on these things are quite, you know, significant and you can get really far into the weeds. So there's a lot to do, and I'm looking forward to doing it. And I think we will get it done, but I don't think we'll get it done in time before this board is turns over.
well, I appreciate the kind of commitment to public input that this BOT has kind of dedicated themselves to. I think that is a really good faith thing to do.
Well, you know, part of the point of you know what we sort of agreed as a board in work sessions and in executive sessions was that the residents of Nederland should have a lot of say in annexation procedures, and that means going to a vote on any major annexations. And if we crafted and passed an ordinance that was nominally to give the public more input into annexation without consulting the public on that very ordinance, that would be kind of very counterintuitive and counterproductive. So I'm hoping that we stay committed to a public process for crafting our annexation procedures, even if it's not the most expedient way to go about it. And I think that a very severely time limited extension of the current IGA with Boulder County would cover us during the time that we write that ordinance. And then as soon as that ordinance is written, we will withdraw from the IGA with the county, put our own ordinance in place, and Nederland will be in control of its own annexation procedures from there on out. So that's what I'm hoping happens. But there are members of the BOT that have different ideas than me, and they're completely valid as well. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
Yeah.
Longmont just completed an annexation of their own recently. Fairly good sized one.
Yeah, Erie doesn't have an agreement with the county. Lyons has one, but it's gives Lyons most of the power, which is how it should be. So it's time for us to have control over that process ourselves, but to do it in a way that is actually in line with the way that our residents want to control annexation for Nederland, rather than just 7 people on the BOT.
Yeah. The next one that's kind of quick is just after Bobcat Ridge, Ned Rink Tennis. I don't believe we have any updates. Do you know of any, Eric?
No, I mean, I think when it comes to the acquisition of those assets, we really need the parks manager to do that. And so besides just maintaining incredibly consistent communication, and they played a great role in this parks manager interview. They had a representative from each entity, which I thought was awesome. I think they know we're tied and we're connected. We did take over their liability insurance in its entirety. Their plans all expired in December, so town picked up in December. We're working on doing what we call VAMP insurance, which is this volunteer medical insurance. It's not like full workers' comp, but it is some coverage that will then absorb their volunteers under. So kind of trying to get that insurance stuff taken care of. And then the parks manager, one of the first things they will do is go work with Rink, because rink season ends pretty soon. They'll work with Rink to get oriented to their process, help with the transfer back to tennis pickleball. And really the plan is like we will fully absorb those assets when we head into the 2022-2023 season for Rink. And then we won't really have full ownership of mountain tennis pickleball probably until fall. So that's in the later part of this year. But they know that, and I talk with Darren and Scott Porter often, and so I do feel like we're on a good place with them. What next steps are.
Very cool. Thank you.
We're rejoined by Kathleen Chippy.
Okay. Just there we go. So, yeah, we left the executive session. We are back into our regular meeting. We are likely ready for somebody to make a motion on our recommendation for the hiring of the parks manager.
I move that we recommend Nikki Dunn, position of parks manager.
A second.
I second.
We had CT and Eric were the first ones to respond there. CT motioned, Eric second. Thank you, Chris. It was fairly unanimous there. Well, it was unanimous there with the parks discussion. That makes sense. Do you need anything else from us, Miranda?
No, so I think the only last thing is that I'm waiting for Mountain Tennis and Pickleball to let me know their recommendation. We did agree that if they were recommending the other candidate, that we would have another meeting for consensus sake. And so if their recommendation is also Nikki, since Ned Rink has already recommended Nikki, we will then move forward with doing kind of an immediate transfer for Nikki, and she can jump into that role, and we'll start a replacement.
Okay. Fantastic. It looks like the next, if we have nothing else on that, we have just addressed Bobcat Ridge, Ned Rink Tennis. Maybe let's do a quick review on Big Springs Egress. Just closed out a bunch of documents there. So what we've got on that, we met, I think it was like the 6th of January, something like that. The Big Springs Egress Committee met, and just a few kind of basic updates. So I think we all know that the 2021 funding through Goose and the state fell through, but we were told that there is still a good chance that this could get funded during 2022, possibly back when it goes through the chamber again later this year. But the committee basically still agreed to continue to look for sources of funding for the egress. So that's kind of one of the things on the agenda. The one, probably the most major update, was that JVA, the town's contracted engineering company, they did prepare an estimate of probable costs for us. So their opinion of probable costs, and I could definitely share this.
Well, real quick, are we talking about which route?
So this is the top route. So this is the one that they went with. There's like kind of two minor differences, but they both basically go off of the driveways on Doe Trail.
Okay,
on the shared driveway, and then they traverse the upper ridge.
okay.
So both of them, yeah, the route that was that everyone wants to go with is the one that avoids the wetlands.
Right, okay, just want to make sure we're not back in that world.
Yeah, I'm really glad we've just kind of done these thorough meetings now, and everyone is on the same page, especially with water issues and climate issues that we are.
And so this
Prepared.
engineering estimate is for that route.
Yeah, so the engineering estimate is for that route. The project total is 702,470. But there
Well.
is there is a contingency in there of 113,120, which is pretty major.
Oh.
And he also suggested that the engineering and surveying fees, which he had at the moment, were suggested at 52,000. They may not be 52,000. It may be something more like 10 to 20,000. So those costs, the project total probable cost is definitely on the high end, I hope.
Yeah.
GPA just naturally estimates high because you never know so many of the unknowns.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was nice to hear Jason say or Nathan that we come down, but I do think it's better we aim at that higher number, or at least for grant funding, and not use it all.
Yeah,
And
that's
this
good.
And this cost is for a dirt access road, is that correct?
Yes,
Egress
dirt
road.
access road, egress, yeah.
Right,
Right.
okay.
Breakaway, swing gates, pull out areas, retaining walls, kind of the cut fill, compact drainage, staging areas. So it's pretty well detailed. I think the next step though is to kind of start a negotiation committee and start trying to figure out some of the terms that could be worked out with the property owners that the egress would align to.
And does it, where does town end and county? I mean, are we going to be traversing county also, right? And so is there a county funding that we could look at as an assistance?
I mean,
No,
Tanya did bring up
JPA was gonna talk with their contacts. I don't know if that was specific to funding though. I think that was more about access.
Right, but I'm saying for our goal, I think we should look at, seeing if we can also talk to the county a little bit, because if we lay it out to linear feet, I bet there's a lot of county.
maybe this could be an IGA.
There is a lot of county, and that has been in my thinking regarding these IGA negotiations. Is that I keep on saying resources more generally, but this is the kind of thing that that I think that we could talk to the county about in these IGA negotiations, especially considering what has just happened, right? I think we are in a pretty good negotiating place. They have a lot of money from the federal government, and it might be time to simply say to the county, if you don't want another 225 houses to burn down, you got to help us fund this road.
And I'm not sure what kind of leverage we have, but I know it was brought up that there is this kind of mass funding that Boulder County should be receiving from the Gross Reservoir settlements.
Yeah, I do believe they think they have already accounted for all that
All
money.
of it, all 8 million. Something.
But I think it can be brought up, as another chunk of change that we know they've gotten, as well as the 65 million that they got from for COVID. So there's money out there, and we're in a negotiation with them. But they have myriad excuses for not talking to us at the moment.
It's crazy.
Because
just like you said, wildfire it should be on the top of everyone's concerns now.
Indeed.
Right. And yeah, as long as we make if we start moving forward now, because nothing like that's going to move quickly, right? So I think this is like the perfect time to get involved.
That's why having that opinion of probable cost and a designated route agreed upon internally in the town was so important, because otherwise there's nothing to approach them with. So now that we have that, we're in a good place.
Yeah, And there are several different avenues we can kind of approach for negotiations with the property owners in the area too. So it's plodding forward. Any questions on that? We'll just keep you updated as things kind of arise too.
The biggest thing is that you get buy-in from Big Springs.
Yeah, residents. Yeah, I think that's kind of the next big thing is going to be, it's not just about the homeowners that directly abut the egress, it's about all the people that the egress is going to make life or death, potential life or death difference with, so.
Right. And maybe have, with in addition to that have like tree companies and stuff like that. So if people want to make more defensible stays around their houses, in lieu of this also going in, that it becomes an education for all.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Next item, unless there's any other questions or comments on the Big Springs egress. So next item on the agenda is Barker Shoreline's Trails and Stewardship project. Do you have anything, Miranda, for just the current status? Otherwise, we'll just get back to you on like the next meeting for that, because I missed that.
In looking at the timeline that I sent out, we really have to revisit that. Don't really have much of an update. Next meeting, I guess.
Yeah, I'll do that next meeting. It was a hectic start to the year there.
And I do think our GoCo meeting will meet next week, and that'll be a good time to walk through updating that timeline, making sure we're all on track. I also would love to do just kind of a budget check-in, especially as we revisit the art installation.
Shall we do an interpretive sign approval? I could screen share for that. I didn't share in advance.
Yeah, do you have it or do you want me to pull it up?
I do have it. Let's see if Google Chrome. Okay. I'll share this. You can see this Google Chrome. All right, so this is sign 1. This is the interpretive signage project from ECOS. It has been kind of just heavy on the meetings with these guys. So I'm hoping that we can be drawing this one to a close. I will send this. I will definitely email it because I realize it's probably hard to see on your screens right now too. Because what she really wants is us to kind of go over with a fine-tooth comb and really check the verbiage. Once it's down, it's down.
So Jesse, are you going to sign option A and option B? The GoCo committee agreed we liked option A.
Yeah, shall I show you that? Anyway, yeah, our committee, and that was compared to this one. And so the GoCo committee, out of these two, we did say we liked the one with the curved cutout. But any feedback you are welcome to give.
I agree. Like the layout of the curve cut out a little better.
So you're going to email these out, you said, Jessica?
Yeah, I'll email it out. And I guess mostly now it's just pretty much the verbiage is pretty much the same. But we are going to need feedback on like every little word.
And real quick, where does that QR code go?
That goes to the Historical Society, I believe. I'll have to double check on that. I've not actually tried it. Let's see if it works.
The only thing that right away bugs me about this one is that Nederland is on the same line as Little Town with Big Stories, and that hyphen bugs me there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not quite sold on that, but I do like the curved cutout design better overall.
Yeah, let's just see how they've done it. Yeah, I kind of like how they've separated Nederland from the name from the subtitle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some way of separating those two more clearly on option A, I think would be nice. And maybe not with a hyphen, because there seems to be hyphens everywhere. I think they're over hyphenating for my tastes.
Yeah, I don't know. World class Netherlands past, and they remain local passions here today. You could just end it at past and start a new sentence. They remain local passions here today.
Right.
A lot of
Or it could just be
they are hyphen wild in here, aren't they? High profile. All right, John Walsh. That wants to be a colon, not a hyphen.
yeah, hard working, this field attribute. There's just hyphens literally everywhere. So
It's hyphen be
we can de-hyphenate some of these things.
Yep.
That'd be great, I think. And
We're at 8 now. Bring it down to a 4. Hyphens.
So after high profile artists, hyphen instead of
Double slash.
Yeah, take out. Okay. Take out that hyphen and double colon. Okay.
One's past, period, space, they remain. No.
yeah, if you could send this out, that'd be great, because I'd like to just spend a little time with it and
Okay.
be able to put some edits down on paper.
There are yet more
Yeah.
hyphens that I missed. This
Yeah.
field. A tribute.
Yep, exactly.
That's a little wacky.
I know Michelle's looking for feedback sooner than later. What's kind of the time frame you feel like PROSAB has to give us feedback?
Could we get feedback by Monday?
Yeah, easily.
You're totally where my head's at.
Yeah.
Verbiage is fine, mostly complete sentences. There's a lot of hyphens and a couple little things, but I've already mentioned everything
Okay.
I've got to say about it.
All right, I'm going to email this out to you, and I'm just going to give a reminder that we're going to need any feedback by Monday, kind of before our Tuesday meeting. And I'll do the same. This is the same one with, we have option 1 and option 2. These are the A's, and then these are the B's. I think in general, the committee liked the curved layout.
Great.
But yeah, like you said, yeah, there's more hyphens here too. Not as bad.
Yeah, I just really like how the title on this one is the title, and the subtitle below it is clearly delineated.
Yeah.
To the water's edge.
Although doesn't
like
look like
that.
there's any mention of the recording area in here. It's all wildlife.
This is the
different
second
one,
one.
yeah.
So this is the ecology one. This would be the history one. And this would be the ecology one.
The hyphen at the top thing wants to be a semicolon.
Yeah. So that would be the history one. That would be the ecology one. But I mean, if you're all in agreement, let's just maybe focus on option A's and try and really get this one, these two. Tight.
That photo of Jim Guercio kills me. The shades.
Isn't that funny? All right. So the next one is updated art area planning. So we do have a little bit of time with this now that we are not going to go all out with the big art installation. So I just sent you a couple of suggestions before the meeting, and those were from a company called Percussion Play, I think. if you want to take a look at those at some point. What do you think? I mean, I think this is kind of a Nikki question too. Like we need to knock out the timeline before.
Great. I think the goal would be to, of course, GoCo offered another extension, but the goal would be to not, just to make it so that they want to fund us again. So March is our deadline. We're a year out.
Yeah. So I think kind of with the new ideas, the updated art area, our installation planning, I think it's going to be a lot easier to meet our deadline, which is kind of a big relief on all of us. I guess the one thing I would like to advocate is that we do keep that in the budget. I would like that line item as it stands, the 20,000, to stay an art installation, art, music, creative, and make sure we dedicate that as part of the project still.
I agree, because if we were going to do something alternative, I'd have to file another report with them. And I think it's valuable. We've set it aside. We have space for it. Let's do it.
Sorry, Jesse, was that a motion?
Yeah, go ahead.
I apologize. Were you making that a motion that we like adopt that policy, or we're just talking?
No motion. Yeah, just I think we're going to meet. The GoCo committee is going to meet on Tuesday, and if any one of you would like to join us, like we can allow one more PROSAB member. If you want to just come and listen in, CT, you'd be welcome to. That is Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. I believe.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. Okay, see, there you go.
And if you want it, I'll forward you the link.
I'll give it a shot. We'll see what thinks about it.
Jesse, do you have thoughts on, potentially doing any kind of, I don't know, outreach to any local artists about, putting some part of that 20,000 towards an art installation that might be done by somebody from the area?
Actually would recommend getting with Danielle Krause with the DDA, because she's done an amazing job pulling all the artists together, and I think could push us in the right direction of who to connect with.
Yeah,
even if a local artist could maybe do something that was sort of a framing device for a kind of creative play space. They don't have to do the whole thing necessarily, but maybe some aspect of it could be defined somehow by local art, and then we could fill it with other things.
Yeah,
like the things that you've suggested already.
Yeah, I know Danielle, and I am in with all of the kind of the art crew on the DDA. So yeah, I'll hook up with them and see if they've got any suggestions. That would be a nice thing to do, because they already have an art committee. So good idea.
And I know nothing about art, but it seems like down by the lake, the musical side of the house, but if there's any way to, like, I don't know, set up pre-made stands for people that want to be by the lake and draw, or something, that maybe there's some cool artsy concept that would enable further art.
Yeah.
Permanent easels. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting
something
idea.
like that.
Like
yeah, and
looking
and
out
you just
over the
kind of
lake.
bring your stuff and set it up and go, and you don't have to worry about the winds of Nederland blowing your little easel down.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna because I have to get in touch with the DDA anyway. They kind of want an update on this, and they want to get our thoughts, or I guess they just want to give us an update on what their plans are for the wayfinding project. I think they're just beginning to maybe move ahead with some of that procedure. So we will make a point to kind of hook up with them and coordinate. Chris?
The idea of the permanent easel is a good idea.
I like that. It's really cute.
We don't have wind in Netherlands. No.
But a stone, like a stonemason, like a scoop.
Yeah, something that would look cool. And
Yeah. Little tilted stone slabs. All right. All right. So we don't have a huge amount of time, but let's see what we can come back with by next meeting. And yeah, brainstorm and spread the word and get it out there and do some outreach and see what feedback we get. I'll check in with kind of maybe the library folk too and Wild Bear and the DDA and see. Just I haven't broken it to like several other people who were kind of involved in the first phase of it, so I gotta just do that. Okay. It's okay. Anything else on Barker Shorelines you can think of?
I do like I when you said the library, I do like those little free libraries that sometimes you see around. That could also be something that we have there as a little free library. They're usually these
like the
little installations that are basically bookshelves that can close, and people can take a book or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of just getting Public Works to give us some big boulders too, like big rocks. I love rocks.
For something you could add to an art area like that, in the same veins as like a mini library would be like a mini art supply. Like take a pen, leave a brush, just so people, if they felt inspired, could make do with what people felt like donating. I think pretty much any serious artist has a pile of extra material sitting around.
Super cute. I like that. Okay, so we've got our homework to do. Wow, it just seems like we're cranking through this. Because we've done Bobcat Ridge site visit. We didn't really have any review to do on that. We didn't have pertinent updates for the Ned Rink, Ned Tennis. We'll return to that once we got more. I know Miranda already gave us some input on the liability and technical details on that. So we all have our like committee roles, I think, too, that I sent just as a reminder. I'm back on it now. That was just crazy. Just with the schools being closed, holidays, that was a tough month there. So we're back in action. Does anyone have kind of updates on the various committees that they're on? We've got Brian has already given his update on trails, and Eric has given an update on trails. Sam is unavailable for the bike park.
Jesse, Rick was hoping to give a comment before we adjourn. I don't know if this is an okay time for that.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, thank you, Rick. I think you've probably got a lot of good information for us right now, too.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I couldn't get on at the beginning of the meeting. I was having technical difficulties, and I'm now working on my phone, which is a little more difficult for me. But a couple of things.
New fire chief.
Yeah, we have a new fire chief. That's exciting. We're going through a transition with that. He's learning from a fire hose, so to speak, right now, just getting lots of new information. So along with that, we're looking at no real changes right now for us internally, but as you know, the first of the year, not only we get the chief, but we also got the new code set in place in town, which some of those big changes were with the fire code and residential code having to do with mitigation and fire resistant building on both residential and commercial structures, which I think the Marshall fire showed that was a very good time to get that done, or it would have been nice to get it done a long time ago, but hey, we're there now and moving forward. So I appreciate all the help and input that the members gave us over time on that. The last almost a 2-year project. The other thing is, like to look at a lot of mitigation. Miranda and I have already been talking to some other folks and looking at grants for doing some both large and small projects. Because I think that's really where we're going to help ourselves the most over the next couple of years. So just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of an update, and unless anybody has questions, that's all I've got.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, thank you, Rick.
Yeah, thank you for all the input.
Any other business? Very
We need
concise
more
today.
water.
I have something super fast.
Yeah, I agree.
Nomination petitions are out. So if you want to run for the Board of Trustees, those are due on Monday by 5.
Eric, are you up?
I am not up. No such luck for me, I'm afraid.
Another 2 years under the masthead.
And
You
I
all better run.
I've had a few requests requesting me to run, but until I drop one of these other volunteer boards, I have no extra time, I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, if you ran, you would no longer be PROSAB chair. So you would automatically drop a board.
Yeah.
You only need
Motion
10
to
signatures. So
I need to have been in town for a year.
correct. Sorry, CG, not quite yet, but you could do the next round.
I'm here for the
So
trails.
I thought after other business, we're done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds like a move to adjourn to me.
See?
It does. Is that a motion from Chris to adjourn?
Yes.
Who would like to second that? John. All right. Motion is adjourned. 8:23. That is a record.
Thanks, everybody.
Great job, team.
Thanks.
Good, we got it done. Good timing.
Amazing.